Welcome to CS 103, Columbia Gorge Community College, the Dalles, Oregon. Mrs. Hughitt, instructor. In this video, we're going to focus on one type of assignment specifically. It's your 3-2-1 journal reflection. Now that morphs a little bit throughout the term, asking you to do some different things, and those directions are included each week. Unfortunately, a lot of times students just sort of assume they know what they're doing. Hey, I read the directions in week 1, I listened to the video, whatever, I'm good, I'm just going to keep going, and you never look at the directions again. Not good. So we'll talk about all three types so that you are really aware of the differences, and hopefully you'll take a minute to look at the directions to make sure you're doing the right one on each week. So you come in here and you've been working on your assignments, or maybe you haven't. You realize that suddenly the journal's due tonight and you haven't really done anything this week and the journal isn't taken late, so you're going to suddenly try to jump in, write your journal so you get it in, and then you'll work on doing the week's work tomorrow and turn it in late. Get down here and you go, but I can't turn it in. There's no link. It's not available. Then I start getting emails like, what's going on? What's the problem? There's not a problem. The problem is you didn't do the work. If the journal is supposed to be a reflection of what you learned this week, it's really hard to reflect on something you haven't done. Therefore, Moodle has it locked until you have submitted the assignments for the week. As you see, you have 3 assignments for this week. Those 3 assignments must be submitted, and as soon as they are, this link should open for you. Now, caution, I have to hand set this every time for dates and for opening things, and if for some reason I somehow goof and it suddenly says something's 259 days overdue or some other weird message, please let me know. I'll go in and get it fixed. Obviously, when you're resetting, 40, 50, 60 links, it's easy to miss one, have something jump and not get something set, or click on something and it scrolls to something else. So if you do find a goof on some setting, let me know and I'll go fix it. We'll try it again. So now that you've submitted your work, what will happen is more like what you'll see up here, which means it's already been opened. I've uploaded this file. When I look in here, I can see that this file is uploaded, which tells me that I don't need to email the instructor, i.e. you don't need to email me, and ask if your work has been submitted. Did it go? Did it work? You can see it right here. There's also a video about how to upload and remove things when you need to do corrections. So if you need to do a correction, you made a mistake, uploaded the wrong file, whatever, please watch that video versus emailing me to do something for you, because I can't. You have to. Now this has been checkmarked. The checkmark shows that I have actually completed that assignment. So that then lets me know that I'm good to go. This is opened up, and here are my directions. Now the directions for week 1 and week 2 are slightly different from week 3 to the finals week. So let's go over those. Obviously, it needs to be done after the work is completed. We just went through that. To start your journal, open Microsoft Word or WordPad. Please do not upload in other types of files. The RFT file, which WordPad creates, I can open. I can open Microsoft Office. I cannot open Microsoft Works, W-O-R-K-S. It's an older free program that Microsoft used to give out that drove everybody crazy because it looks the same, acts the same, and isn't the same. I cannot get those files open. So do not use that cheapy free program that came with some older computers. Thank goodness it's kind of going the way of the dinosaurs, but it may still be around. If you are on a Mac, I cannot open Pages. Do not send me a Mac format file. If you need to use a Mac, this is a Windows course. You need to go find a Windows machine. The other file type that sometimes still exists out there is WordPerfect. It's a competing brand with Microsoft Office. The college is Microsoft Office based. It is the more common program now. If you happen to have WordPerfect, I know there are still businesses that do use it. I can open WordPerfect. I do have WordPerfect on my machine. It is bilingual that way. So that is one that I can open, although that is not the preferred version. Tell me 3 things you learned in the unit. Be specific. Don't just say, oh, I learned a lot. This is kind of cool. I mean, be really specific. Explain to me that you learned how to upload a file in Moodle. You learned how to delete a file in Moodle. You learned you learned the different programs. You hadn't realized there was a difference between Word and Works, and you just learned that right now in the video. Explain those specifically in a paragraph. Put an enter or a return in there to leave a space, and then address 2 ways that you will use what you learned this week. How will you actually apply it? Not just some vague, oh, I'll probably use it sometime in the future, but specifically, oh, I'm taking 4 online classes. It really will help to know how to delete a mistake so I can correct files if I upload something. That's huge. Or, no wonder my instructors have always been fussing at me. I keep turning things in using Works. No wonder I'm always getting bad feedback from instructors. I had no clue. Those types of things are what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for this kind of generic mumbo jumbo that could apply to just about anything, sort of the, oh, well, you know, it'll be good, I'll use it someday type of stuff. And then tell me one idea you would teach to somebody. Because there are things out there that you can share that would be helpful. Now, do you have to go do it? No. But if you had the chance, which one thing from the week do you think would be most useful to share with someone? Oh, I've got another student in a class that's always complaining about how she cannot replace any files they upload, and then if they make a mistake, they just get a bad grade because they're stuck with bad file, and I can teach them how to replace files. Perfect. You do not actually have to teach it. Now, when you get done, it has to have at least 150 words or more in the file. Now, there are ways to check that in Moodle. Does not tell you because you're going to be attaching the document. If you're in Word and you're typing in Word, it does tell you right down here. It now has 5 words. I would have to fix that. So you can actually see right down here in Word what you have. WordPad may not be as helpful for that. Now, when you get to week 3, you're going to have one additional requirement added on at that point. That's one of those morphs and changes. And that's going to be, you're going to be doing a sentence with a vocabulary word from that week in it that helps explain what you learned this week. Not just a generic one, not probably the one that you used in the actual assignment of vocabulary, but apply it to your learning this week. So let's say you learned the word Moodle. You hadn't known what Moodle really was. You knew that we used it, but now you know a little more about it. So you're going to maybe use the sentence, I had known about Moodle, but I didn't really understand that that was where all our courses were stored and we could get to all our classwork. Then you're going to underline, bold, color the word Moodle. So it jumps out at me. When I open the page, that word should just like smack me in the face as being your vocabulary word. If it's just mixed in and it's kind of lost, it's sort of a mystery word, and I have to go look for it, you probably won't get any credit for it. So make sure that starting in week 3, you add that. It's grayed out in week 1 and 2. It will not be in week 3. It will show up in week 3 and show up through up to finals week. Now, some other things to know. Each question must be a paragraph with at least one line of spacing between it and the next question. This is a space. This blank white space in between is a space. I expect to see 4 chunks of text, 1, 2, 3, 4, with spaces between them, white spaces between them. If not, your grade will go down. It's very hard for me to read on screen one big blop of text that comes through. I don't know about you, but I find that really challenging and very tiring. Therefore, I don't like grading it, and therefore your scores go down because you didn't follow the directions. There is a grading rubric right here. I'll let you go through and look at it so you can figure out kind of what I'm looking at. And then down here, it tells you to add your submission, so you will go ahead and click that, drag it, and drop it. Now, there's one more change the finals week. The change in finals week is it's going to be a reflection for the full term versus just a week's reflection for that, 5-7 days. You're going to be looking back at, okay, what did I learn all term? What are the most important things that I learned all term? How am I going to apply those things? How am I going to use them? How will they make my life better, or how have they already made my life better? And you're going to then reflect on what one. Sometimes people say, I just have to tell you 2 things because I can't narrow it down to 1. Okay, fine. Not 25 things, please. But what would you teach somebody? What was the most helpful? And sometimes it's really simple things, and I understand that. Those aha moments of like, oh my gosh, I did not know you could use Control-C and Control-V for copy and paste. Geez, that'll save me tons of time instead of always right-clicking for things. Or, man, I didn't know you could do Control-S for a save, and I was always losing stuff. Now it's really easy. I just go type along and hit Control-S, type along, hit Control-S after the first time, and it saves it for me magically. I love that feature. Those are the types of things I'm looking for. Very specific, not general. Oh, this was a great course. I had a great time. I learned a ton. Those are not going to be acceptable types of reflections. Again, if you ever have questions or concerns, or you find something that just looks like it's not doing what it should be, videos disappear. I've checked all the links. That doesn't mean they'll work when you get to them. So if something is a little wonky, looks a little weird, please let me know. Hope this helps you with the journals.